Hey guys, late last week, the CDC issued a health advisory on a set of symptoms in children related to COVID-19, calling it multi-system inflammatory syndrome, or MIS. And it's exactly how it sounds, an inflammation or swelling at various parts of the body at the same time. And this can be really dangerous. Well, late last night, I was comparing some notes that we've kept over the last several weeks, and I stumbled upon some really interesting perspective that I want to share with you by hand. Bear with me. All right, guys, so it's not high tech, but I think it will do the trick. So what I've set up here are the days from the first day where we had a confirmed case of COVID-19 in America to 60 days, 90 days, and 120 days. So we had our first case of an adult with confirmed COVID on January 21st. And just about 60 days or 2 months later, the White House issued a stay-at-home guidance for America. We went from low risk to the American people to suddenly everyone advised to stay home and the economy shut down. About 90 days after the first case, or 30 days after that stay home order, we reached our peak, or what health officials believe is our peak for the first wave of infections, which is where we had the highest number of deaths before we started a decline. This week, we will pass 120 days since our first case of COVID-19 in America. All right, so let's look at the same timeline when it comes to children. The first confirmed case for a child with COVID-19 in America was actually March 2nd. And exactly 2 months or 60 days after that, New York City, the hardest hit area in America, issued a bulletin about a set of symptoms in children related to COVID-19. 10 days after that alert, the CDC did what it did last week and issued its health advisory. 90 days from the first confirmed case of a child with COVID-19 in America will actually be June 2nd, so we have a little ways to go. 120 days from the first case will be July 2nd. So why does this matter? Let me explain. So 3 things to consider. The first is that children cases of COVID-19 in America are lagging adult cases by about 6 weeks. And this is important because much of the data analyzed by the CDC and often quoted in the press, including by journalists like myself, is data focused on February to early April in America, when we had fewer cases nationally and even fewer cases of children. So it's missing an important piece of the puzzle. The second thing to note is that the data lacks context. Dr. Daria told us that we're not extensively testing children for COVID-19 in America, and that's a fact. The former FDA commissioner, Scott Gottlieb, told CBS News yesterday we have no common denominator for this data. So we have about 100 cases of children with similar symptoms and exposure to COVID-19 in New York State. Is that 100 cases out of 1,000 in New York, or is it 100 cases out of 1,000,000? Those are 2 very different pictures. And so while we're saying that COVID-19 is rare in children and this set of symptoms is rare, it is true, it is rare in the early data, but we need more information. Third thing to note is that the CDC said that while they are naming this group of symptoms, multi-system inflammatory syndrome, they are not 100% sure it's only happening in children. It could be happening in adults. So is this a child's reaction to COVID-19, or is this just COVID-19? We don't know yet. Some perspective. It takes about 40 weeks to have a baby. We're about 16 weeks into COVID-19 in America right now, about 10 weeks for children. So we're still very early in the cycle, and there's still a lot more to learn. I hope this is helpful. Questions and comments, let me know. And as always, more on smarternews.com.